No.
Right.
It was like keep getting worse. It was like, okay, first the button doesn't work, and then later the screen start like flashing, and then I took it to like phone hospital, like one of
The
those,
phone
like,
hospital. Okay, let me see if the camera's good.
No, there's like a suspicious like Chinese man, and then he fixed like he wired my phone inside. And it didn't work.
Let's see this. Yeah.
So is this how should we like approach this? Like a podcast where we just kind of like talk for a long time?
Honestly, you worded it best, where it's like just pretend the camera isn't there, and it's just like three guys just talking.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sounds
And then like honestly, like if you have the floor, you know, to talk, and I'll just give the mic to you and stuff like that.
Now it's just the public speakers.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like.
Once we get a couple sponsorships, you know, maybe League what's it called? Raid Shadow Legends may sponsor the next video.
No, it's
Make it some funding.
or like NordVPN.
Yeah.
NordVPN's a good one. Or
Guys,
Manscaped.
you know that you're watching, like getting watched every day in shower, you know? Use NordVPN, you can...
Have you ever wanted to watch a Netflix special that only airs in the US? I got the app for you.
Shit, man.
VPN. You can like. I love how it started as kind of like this like little hack that people would use, and now it's literally marketed as like breaking streaming services, like terms and conditions, and being able to jump like. Yeah.
No, Netflix really
savage.
cracked down on that though, which is crazy because what's it called? Password sharing has been like the number one thing why people like Netflix as well.
Yeah.
But now they're just like gatekeeping, which is crazy.
Wait, do I count as what?
But anyways, yeah, I'll do the introduction.
Good.
You ready?
Alright, let's get it started.
All right. Welcome to the Oasis. My name is Frank. Obviously, today we're here with
Chris.
and
Niles.
And today we're going to be diving into men's mental health and just making open conversations more natural between guys. So what we have here is a little game that I got. The first one is called The Fundamentals, where we talk about just general mental health questions. Then the next one you'll start to see, it's called Icebreakers, where we have lighthearted questions just touching the surface. Then we have Reflections, which is another level down, which the questions start to get a little bit more deeper and we start to reflect more on ourselves. And the final level is called Diving Deeper, where we actually dive deeper within ourselves and we start to open up conversations on a deeper level. So you guys ready?
Right.
Yeah.
See it.
Cool. So first question that we have here in fundamentals. Obviously, in lieu of men's mental health being last month, what does men's mental health mean to you?
Oh no.
Hopefully it's not as bad as that fall.
It means that not getting upset by seeing your phone drawing.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah, when stuff like that happens, you just gotta move, you know?
Okay,
But yeah.
do you want to go first, Niles?
You wanna go first?
Yeah. I think the best way I can
Give me one. We'll do.
yeah
Yeah.
categorize it is just talking about more of like the emotional and mental toll that is taken on males in particular, and there's a variety of categories that it can fall into, namely like stress is a big one, maybe like the umbrella of stress from the workforce or from school or providing for a family. I just think there's a lot of things that are unique to the male condition that are not really talked about and that are considered to fall under men's mental health.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. How are you?
I feel like this month it's about like, okay, a lot of times I feel like males are not, like, it's not always talking about our own feelings. We don't share as much as females sometimes when talking about our real feelings, because we just feel like, okay, we have this responsibility. If we have emotions, like, maybe it will get better by itself. We don't talk about it to somebody else. So it's all like inside us and then we never talk about it. So this month maybe a place, a free time that we could talk about these things, like proudly, not like saying that, okay, you have to be a man, you know, suck it in. I don't think that's like very good for all like males and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with both of you. And that's the thing. I believe as well, it's just the things that we normalize as guys as well, or just as men or identifying males, right? You start to see that, like, even when I was younger as well, I didn't really notice that you wouldn't go to your friends first if you had a problem, you know, like internally or like mentally, whatever that may be, right? Or even like an emotional problem, right? Like, say, for example, like I know a lot of guys, even just everyone in general, whether you had hardships or like breakups or hard goodbyes with people in general, right? You don't really look at your friends. You don't really look at your friends first to be the first people to be like, this is what happened, right? This is how I kind of feel. And like, this is where I think of going from here. How do you guys kind of view that? Or how can you guys help? You know what I mean? It's more of just like, okay, that happened. Okay, I guess that happened. And let's move on, you know?
And it's
or
either
like,
that or you go straight to, you know, your mom or some sort of like paternal figure who has established the grounds for being able to talk about things, because men usually aren't very communicative of their emotions, especially not around their friends. And I think we just kind of like pick up on habits and patterns of behavior perpetuated by the society that we live in. And I think from like very young, you know, like I always felt embarrassed to cry. That was a big one. Like I just remember like almost priding myself on not crying for years. You know, I'm like, I never cry. I just don't, you know, and people kind of like, whoa, that's crazy, man. You're really strong. But then it's like, that's not strong. I think it's much stronger to be able to cry and to be able to overcome that barrier that is just kind of invisible, but kind of holds everybody. Because I feel like by not crying and allowing those emotions to pass through you, you're not going to talk about it, and you're just going to kind of keep it stuffed down.
Yeah. Even on that, I feel like even as guys in general, we aren't even taught like. maybe that B want to talk about mental health.
Yeah, you want to talk about
He's
it
in
too.
it. He had enough. That B had enough for how you want to get something off his shoulders now. But yeah, no. Even on that point as well, it's like I don't even think like we were taught or even just given like a criteria of someone that we trust with saying those types of things or like saying those deep things. It's not really like here are the different qualities of a person that you should either confide with or like cry to or feel comfortable with sharing your emotions. That's not really there. And it's like when you get kind of lost, that placeholder is kind of just filled with someone who gives you affection or gives you attention. And in the world that we live in, with people that just trade attention for satisfaction and fulfillment, right? The first couple people that may give you attention, you may think that they're qualified enough for you to express yourself to them. And especially if they have the wrong intentions or God forbid, they're even just using you for something, right? That could really scar someone. That can really scar a lot of guys as well that I've understood or just even dealt with.
That definitely gives you... That puts you in a position of being vulnerable to being taken advantage of and taken for granted because you are so desperate to be heard or to be held by somebody that you give too much and you'll put people on a pedestal that they don't deserve.
Yeah, it's always about like I myself a lot of times, I know you guys see me as like, oh, if there's a problem, okay, triple espresso coffee. Or like when the project's about to like is reaching its climax, I just see Chris like lock a door, just get right to it. Like he just locked it. He has like an IV, just caffeine just running down his system. Like it's okay. Obviously on the surface it will be like this. Okay, I'm fine. Like drinking coffee, thinking about okay, this is going to be work and it's fine. But it was actually a lot of times I just want I want other people to understand that although sometimes I'm capable of finishing something that is like everyone that thinks I'm capable of, but sometimes like I have sometimes that I've like really stressful, but I just don't talk about it because I don't think anyone will ever understand how it feels. So I just keep it in and drink coffee. No, literally, and that's a great point. And that's why I've been thinking about that, like just the past couple of days. It's like I started to realize, or even just like look at people who just, I guess it's more of just in situations we're not really taught how to
redirect the energy that we hold inside. You know, like the anger, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's like even just like just being emotional in general, right? Different feelings, whether it's sadness, happiness, right? Sometimes, like, obviously we're talking now about guys like not knowing how to express when they're sad or whatever that may be, but also when you're happy as well, right? I feel like sometimes even at those points, it's like, who can I be happy with? Should I feel happy here? Should I not feel happy, right? And just having a bunch of that energy just kind of like compressed and repressed within you, and it's like not being able to kind of redirect that into something either productive or just healthy for the mind leads to a lot of things, a lot of violence, leads to a lot of different things, whether it's violence, whether it's a high suicide, whatever that may be, right? And I think that's what, if honestly, if a bunch of these I know they're trying to roll in different, like, whether it's mental health courses or clubs or whatever that may be, even just initiatives in general, like, these are the things they need to focus on. Teach someone, actually, instead of just putting up a website and just a bunch of whatever that may be, promote men to have different techniques to redirect your energy, right? Whether that's being mindful, whether that's like being mindful in your own body, reflecting, whether that's redirecting that through either a sport or whatever that may be. But even at that point, you still need to have that mental mindfulness to extract what you're feeling and how you can go forward from it. But it's just that redirection within yourself on, this is how I'm feeling, and this is how I'm feeling, comma, that's okay, right? And because we know that that's okay, how can we move forward from this, right? Because
I think a lot of men will oftentimes judge themselves for having negative feelings. My wife and I, we've talked a lot about the concept of neutrality, where you don't try to keep your emotions neutral and level, but instead you don't judge yourself for what you feel. You know, like, I feel anger. Are you going to beat yourself up and make yourself more angry for feeling anger or stress, or even judging yourself for feeling sad? No, you just say, like, this is, you gotta talk yourself through it, because it will feel uncomfortable. But when you start on the journey of allowing yourself to feel the full, beautiful spectrum and rainbow of emotions, it's very difficult at first, and you will judge yourself a lot. And I just think when you judge yourself, that action in and of itself is the step that causes you to internalize these emotions and keep them hidden from the world. Or if I think everybody just kind of like wore their heart on their sleeve, and no matter what they were feeling, you know, they could talk about it. The act of not judging yourself and being able to vocalize it is a big one. Words have so much power when it comes to emotions, because I think that is, you know, among other things, like exercise, good sleep, maybe meditation. I think talking about something is a really good way of allowing pent up energy, whether negative or positive, to pass through you.
100%. And honestly, not even going as far as the step as wearing your heart on your sleeve, but even just like you're saying, accepting that you are feeling something, or accepting whether it's like something. Honestly, for me, when I started doing this, like 5 years ago, or not even 5 years ago, it's probably like 2 years ago when I actually first started to do this, was when I started to feel a lot more happier, a lot more fulfilled, I literally shamed myself for feeling happy and fulfilled, right? Like I could achieve something, and then the first thought obviously comes to mind. It's like the first thought that comes to mind, and I think a lot of guys have this, or even just identifying males have this, is that the first thought that comes to mind is one that is almost like a tyrant, one that's like just almost like a warden kind of feeling, like, right? And it's like saying, oh, but you it's almost like there's always something extra that can diminish or dismantle whatever you're feeling happy, right? And then once I understood that that's a voice there, I understood that since it's coming from my mind or wherever it's channeling from, right? I know that if I created it, I have the power to change it, right? Or better than that, I have the power to not put energy into it, right? And that goes into something that I can even talk about now, because we're talking about things like meditation, mindfulness, but how can you actually do that? And there's a technique that I actually do. I don't even know if there's a name to it actually, but I just started to pick it up. Basically, you sit with yourself, right? And once you sit with yourself long enough, the thoughts start flooding in like a river, right? And the thing that you need to do, and the first thing that I started to do myself, is think about it like this, right? visualize almost like where you are, sitting on a rock or sitting in a place, right? Think about the river of all your thoughts just coming to you, everything that's coming to you, whether it's worry, stress, happiness, goals, thoughts, whatever. Just feel like it's a river just being passed to you, right? Now, the important part about this, and we can pick that up later. No worries. The important part about this is that as the river's coming in, like, and coming to you, it's not actually hitting you. When you visualize that river of all the thoughts and all the things that are keeping you up, right? Coming right at you, think of yourself having armor. Like this, whatever you visualize, whatever armor you have around you. Doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter what it is. But it's almost like a coat that's surrounding your whole body. That's almost like it's protecting it, right? And in this armor, you decide what seeps through the armor and what gets bounced off, almost like ricocheting bullets, right? So in this moment, it's almost like it's waterproof, right? There's nothing that can touch it, nothing that you can allow it to touch. So as this river is coming to you, I kind of visualize myself having this armor, right? And honestly, I don't let anything in, right? I just let everything deflect. And instead of watching the river go by, I just don't put any energy into it. Does that make sense? I don't even put my time of day into the river. I just visualize the thoughts going by, and I just make sure I feel okay and comfortable with thoughts going through my mind without me putting attention and energy, if that makes sense, right? And as I started to do that, I started to understand that I have control over my mind. It's not things that are just off of impulse, right? If I feel all of a sudden I need to go ride a bike 10 miles, right? I have the choice to do that. I don't just jump up and do it. Similarly, if I have the urge to go on my phone, right? It's an impulse, which means it's something in my control. It's not something I automatically do. It's something in my control. So similarly, if you always have that urge to go on your phone, just think of that river passing you and just observing that thought of going on your phone just going by you. And you don't even touch it anymore, and it's just going off, and it's just going into the abyss. Just floods past you and goes into the abyss, right? And then after it goes into the abyss, you don't even put any intention to it. You don't even put your time of day. It's gone. It's literally gone into another dimension. It doesn't even exist anymore. Right? And because of that, you relinquish any power that you have over it. And you'll start to see it doesn't pop up in your mind anymore. Or at least it doesn't pop up as strong as it did last time. Right? And kind of visualizing that myself, for someone who didn't meditate more than 5 minutes, right? I just visualized the river because I'm a visual guy. I love visualizing things, right? Passing through. So I visualized it. I put just river going by, right? Because if a water hits you and goes down 10 miles, you don't think about what happened to that droplet of water 10 miles down. So think of those as your thoughts coming in. And doing that allows you to have control over your mind, and more importantly, control over your state. Because that's the most important thing that you can have in your life, control over your state.
Yeah, because I feel like this is a powerful way of mastering your inner dialogue.
Yeah.
When it comes to, in a sense, observing your thoughts and what's going on in your life, you can think of as the main story on a news service, and then the thoughts that are in your head are what scroll at the bottom, where they're not as important, but they're still there. And so being able to observe them and just being able to like take note of them, but let them pass by, and then focus on what's going on, the here and now, will not make it so that you're too caught up in what's going to happen in the future and what's happened in the past. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? It's all just like right now. What am I doing? I'm sitting, I'm in nature, or I'm at work, or I'm at school, and nothing dangerous is happening to me right now. I'm not a product of my past. Things that I feel maybe slightly worrisome about, they can just kind of fade into nothingness, because I feel like when you suppress those thoughts and you judge those thoughts, they start to build kind of a mental dam, and every thought feels important. Every thought is not important. You can't judge yourself for having thoughts, because that would be trying to change an irreversible process of the human condition, which is to have a mind and to have thoughts and to think all the time. You can't stop yourself from thinking, and so you have to be able to harness the power of thinking for your benefit. And I think thoughts, whether they're positive or negative, can move through you, and you can just observe them, almost like take a back seat in your subconscious and just say, yeah, that happened, or yeah, that may happen, but it is okay. I have overcome things in the past, and I will forever overcome things, because there is no trial that I'm not capable of withstanding.
Yeah, love that, man. Yeah, and I think even the key part in that is knowing that your thoughts aren't even your own, right? Your thoughts, I kind of think of it as like a highway example, where you observe your thoughts are like the intersection of an actual highway, right? And each lane that passes through the highway, like each of the cars that come into the middle of the intersection, can be from your beliefs, from your habits, from external circumstances, can come from even like the higher power, if you believe in God, Allah, whatever, the universe, whatever higher power you believe in. It can come from that if you get messages from there, right? Higher intelligence, whatever that may be, right? So there's all these different cars that are going in the lane, but notice that since you're the intersection, you're mindfulness, you can allow which cars to pass through and which cars not to pass through, because they're not your own. They're literally not your own. Your whole thoughts are not your own. Everything that comes to you is not your own. That's why history repeats itself, right? It's the same idea is just being extracted into different ages, but just exactly saying, knowing that your thoughts are your own, and kind of understanding that you have control of your thoughts and what you put energy into and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like because you describe it as a river, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the more that I grow up, the bigger this river is, and the more I think of it is like, okay, now I grew up, I have to like take everything in the river and just go through me, like, okay, I have the responsibility to do that, but I never think of like, okay, I have a choice of taking that or not. But it's just like a lot to like take in sometimes. The river is so large that you think, okay, shit, I'm going insane.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. There's a lot of things to deal with, and meanwhile I just like getting lost, and I don't know which one to start first. Yeah, so that is a good example to you to like explain it like a river right now. Just like it's a lot growing up.
And honestly, with those thoughts, it feels like you can just be carried away like a current,
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree, man. But that's where you gotta. I think the harder, or I guess understanding your thoughts, but more importantly, understanding your worth. Because I feel like the product of your thoughts. Exactly. Let me just see if it's still recording. I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
Okay, sure.
Okay. I'm gonna hit a. Cool. We're synced up.
Testing.
Yeah. Feel free if you guys want to waterfall this too. Let me know.
You have some?
Yeah, for sure.
My water was in the hot sun all day, so
Yeah. No, I had a feeling that I had to bring my large container. Yeah, take as much as you want.
There's like a new technology that like
Thanks, man.
it's like a machine that like you just put it there and then start like sucking water from the air.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Almost like a Tesla tower, but like for water. That's sick.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Tastes like mineral.
I think honestly, yeah, it is. That's literally the water that I'm getting from my apartment, bro. Like, I don't know what they do, man. I don't know what they put in it, but it's busted. But yeah, so I think
It tastes like mineral.
Yeah, good. I think water is good with minerals. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. We kind of went through two questions. It was overlooked. The first question was, is mental health overlooked or neglected? I think we answered it was both. And yeah, honestly, I think the last part of the fundamentals, if you yourself could think of one way, where do we have it? Yeah, okay. Last part. If you yourself could think of one way to improve men's mental health, what would that be? If you can just snap your fingers and something could change about it, what would it be?
I like to think of emotional repression as a grocery list. Try to think of 20 things on your mind that you need to get from the grocery store and keep it all up there. I'm sure it's possible, but can you do it without stressing? Can you remember everything? Will it be productive for you to go and then come back and realize you forgot something? I feel like in order to not stress about that, you need to physically write it down or share the load with somebody, you know, because 20 items, 2 people each remember 10 items, things like that. Being able to kind of take the load off of your mind and put it onto paper or in the possession of somebody else is a huge relief, because you no longer have to stress about it, because that grocery list is out of your mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's out of your mind and it's on paper. You don't have to stress about it anymore. I feel like if there's one thing that could help, would just be to either have a therapist or a trusted person where you can just kind of mentally word vomit all the thoughts that are going in your mind completely without judgment, you know. And the fact of the matter is that's a little difficult, especially in this day and age, where, you know, society like almost trains us to be judgmental and see things as acceptable or not, and so that is very difficult to find. So if you can't find a trusted person, I find the best method would just be to write it down, to get a blank page, completely blank, and just write all the thoughts, that mental river in your head, and just let it flow. The other day, I was feeling really overwhelmed and just feeling very emotionally repressed and not having a very healthy outlet, and I was unable to work out because of some injuries that I'd sustained. I just didn't know what to do, so I cracked open this journal that I had, and I just started writing. And what I noticed is that I started writing without judgment. I started not following the lines. I would not use proper punctuation. I would not use proper letter sizing. I just write big or small, whatever I was feeling, no matter how messy, I just write it all out. And it felt so good just to be like, yeah, I'm stressed about school. I'm stressed about money. I'm stressed about my relationship. Everything sucks, you know, and like, just kind of get even hateful words and judgmental words out of my brain. Things so horrible like I hate myself, I can't do anything right, things like that. You know, I'm not going to judge myself for writing those things, because that is something that sometimes floats around in my inner dialogue. You got to get that stuff out of there. You got to clean it out. And when you get to the end and you are so emotionally and mentally exhausted from writing, that's your clean slate. That's your, okay, I can look at my grocery list and see, wow, you know, a lot of this, 75% of this is all just crap, but it's stuff that hangs around in my head all the time. Why do I hang on to this? You hang on to it because you have no outlet. You have no way of getting rid of it. Sometimes things like that, they stick around for years.
Yeah. That's where the real, honestly, even like that, honestly, that one goes crazy. Journaling, and honestly, I suggest everyone for you to journal. Literally get whatever paper it is, ripped up, whatever it is, like get a big enough paper, just start writing everything. Honestly, exactly like you said, when I started journaling, I was so judgmental, right, about like the words, the articulation, like, because I kind of think about it, if I want to look at it again, can I still visualize exactly what I was going through so I can understand it? So I would go in between the lines, I would just like proper punctuation, erase things, like never, I would even say when journaling, never erase anything, just mind blurb everything, right? As long as it's visibly there, you know, you can see it. Like, don't worry about exactly what you're saying. Don't worry about punctuation, size, whatever. Honestly, start even like line paper is fine, or even just like a blank sheet so you can just write on your own pace, right? I like to curve when I'm writing as well, so it's almost like a rainbow type thing. I don't know how, but it kind of works. But journaling is so important to get laid on the table. And I think another point just to add on to it, if you are putting words like I hate myself, put all that stuff, like after you write it down and get it all out of yourself, look over what you just wrote again, and then like kind of like, if it's like I hate myself, just be like, pause. I understand that right now has been troubling and thoughts like this can come up, but I do love myself. I do believe I'm capable of resolving this. I do believe I'm powerful enough. I do believe I'm worthy to resolve this. I do believe I'm worthy to resolve this and get whatever I yield from it, right? So making sure that every time, like, because you don't want a whole 3 pages of you saying I hate myself without having like you can do that if that's on your mind, right? But at the end of it, at the end of it, circle back to it, right? And then just say, hey, like, I understand I'm feeling like this, right? understandable, right? And also make sure, right, my feeling, whatever I'm feeling is valid, right? Your emotions are always valid, right? Just as long as you can reflect back on it and just put like positive affirmations that can couple with it, right? And honestly, that not only gets things out of your head, but gets you encouraged to express yourself more, whether it's not even to other people, but to yourself. But always think about solutions, right, to whatever happens. So it trains yourself. Every time something negative happens, you think, okay, I understand I'm feeling like this. I know I'm capable. I know I'm strong. I know I'm powerful. I know I can do this. And I know that I can achieve whatever I kind of want to. I'm worthy to do this, and I'm worthy to overcome this. But yeah, great point. Yeah, which one point do you think?
Yeah, I feel like, okay, just like Niall said, like journal it down, like with everything that you on mind, and put it on a paper will be a good idea. What I think it will be like a platform that could like, okay, like write all the things that you're stressed about right now on a page that no one's know who you are, and you don't know which one, like they're all like anonymous. You don't know anyone on there, and then someone will just click on your page, see your struggle. Maybe you will find someone that have the same struggle with you, and they know they have been through this kind of stuff, and they could tell you like, okay, you should do this, but you don't know that guy. So I think like, because we're talking about a lot of times as a man right now, we do not communicate as much about like our feelings to other people, because we're feeling that, okay, like it's too shame to talk about these stuff, and I'm too embarrassed because I don't think these are the things that I should talk about with my bros, right? But like, okay, but what if like we could have like a platform that we could share our own things to other people that you don't know, and then maybe they will help you with like writing a solution there. I think that would be a better idea, since our biggest fear is just, if you not very right to talk about these things in front of like your bros, your friends, right? So I think that's my idea.
Hold on, first, always a business mind, eh? Always got the ideas coming forth.
Yo, no.
First eco walk, first a couple with eco walk, now we got this. But yeah, no, totally. I think it's a great idea. But I honestly, even just like ideas on that as well, right?
Yeah.
Is I see like in social media, a lot of people like project their problems, but they just like leave it there. So I think to even enhance that is this is kind of like a trifecta of everything here. It's like what you're saying is like on the social media, write everything, and like what you just said as well, write the solutions.
And like right now, because you see right now on social media, there's often like bad news about social media. It's like, okay, someone write a story, and then other people like because they're all anonymous, you can be any nickname and no one will recognize you in real life. Like a lot of bad news is talking about all those people saying like hateful stuff on comments. But why don't we like switch it around? We could always use social media to help out others, right? To say something nice, even though they don't know who you are. Maybe solve a problem for themselves. So like even though, okay, you're the one who helped this random guy to go through a problem, right? You yourself will feel nice because you did something really nice, right? And maybe later you have the same, like some kind of different issues that you cannot think of how it's going to be working, right? And there's other guy that will help you with this. Like, think about it. It's like we can use social media as a weapon, but we can also use social media as something that could help the others, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we should like change that from being putting hateful words on social media to like helping others with comments, and somebody will help you back,
Yeah. No, honestly, hold on, that's a cool idea. I think, honestly, to couple that with the concept of putting how you feel and stuff like, instead of just like dumping it and then just leaving it there for the internet, it's like, it's like what you're saying, put how you're feeling, but then couple that with like something. You can couple that with something like a solution to your problem, right? And then we can even use SEO or even just like data tracking to just, or not data tracking, like kind of like optimization to see, hey, here are examples of people who have similar things, but here's how they feel like they can resolve it. Or other people, instead of linking problems, you link people's solution to relative problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then instead of just like yourself seeing your problem and then everyone else's problem, what you're seeing is just solutions flooding to you,
Yeah.
right? Instead of just problem. And then that could just kind of like, but
Yeah, because if you're stressed about like you cannot find a problem, let's say, okay, like if I go to gym today, I don't know like what protein like that I have to drink to in order to get stronger, like or better. Like, okay, let's say like Dwayne Johnson is on the platform and then he write a solution and you get the solution back so that, okay, you stop stressing about it because you get the solution straight from Dwayne Johnson and you didn't even know about it, right?
yeah, no, honestly, so yeah, like solution providing instead of problem providing. I think that's a good, but yeah.
Yeah. I think kind of what we are getting at is a solution-based mindset where you are not stuck in the echo chamber of, oh, what was me, or self-judgment, or being very critical of yourself, but instead you are adapting the mindset of, I have a problem, but I'm capable of overcoming it in my own time. So every time, you can almost train yourself to, anytime this thought comes my way, how do I deal with it? Because I feel like the opposite side is, oh, here's this thought again. What do we do? I don't think an adequate solution falls into the same category as coping, because coping is just delaying the inevitable of kind of the day where you will heal from things that have happened to you. And I feel like coping is in a different category from solution-based mindset, because if you are coping, you are running away and you are hiding and stuffing things down. Such things might be related to addiction or just unhealthy patterns of thinking and behavior, just to kind of help yourself through a difficult time until your ship can reach a safe harbor. And so I feel like solution-based thinking is thinking that every time this problem that frequently occurs in my brain happens, what do we do? So it's maybe I had a traumatic childhood, and every time that I think about how this affected me, what do? Do I stuff it down? Do I let out my anger with others? Or do I take it to the gym or any of the aforementioned solutions? Things like that. Getting that pattern of thinking and almost tricking your brain into thinking that these issues in your head don't have to be so big if you can find a way to not only cope with them, but to be able to work through them and to get past them and ultimately reach a point where you are no longer thinking about said thing and is no longer a frequently occurring thing in your mind. I personally have felt this in numerous ways, and spending years and years coping and turning to things that didn't help me ultimately helped me to be able to understand that the better side is to have a solution-based mindset instead of a coping mindset.
Yeah, honestly, and what Jordan Peterson talks about, conflict delayed is conflict multiplied. The more I almost like 99.99% of the time, if you delay something to get it done, there's no way it just gets better. It will just progressively get worse, because it's almost like it's a universe telling you, hey, this is a thing that is hindering you from being your best you, being your most authentic self.
Yeah. We
We want you to deal with it like as soon as possible. We want the best for you, right? So it's providing more and more instances for you to, resolve it. But I agree. Definitely like a social media platform, I think would be even a great
and I want to expand that.
Solution-based flooding, yeah.
Yeah, I want to expand that. I didn't say about, okay, like finding a solution for the problem, it's something that, okay, after you feeling fine, that you could go for the solution. But often sometimes like a lot of things that strike you at the first place, you first don't have the mental to, okay, now I have to go for the solution. It's after that, right? So I'm saying the platform is not to only finding a solution for you. Of course, like if I find solution, I could code ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
That works the same. But this, like, I'm talking about platform where we could share things together, like to make sure that you're okay before you actually embrace the solution. Because a lot of people, they are actually not as rational as other people that could just, okay, this math homework doesn't work, ChatGPT, or go ask the teacher. They will have a thought, like people will be like, okay, I feel like today I'm not really good at doing math and I just like don't know what to do, right? So at this time, you can find someone that like, you know, maybe having the same trouble with you, and maybe this platform, you don't know who that is, but he'll make sure that you're okay first before, okay, so here's the solution. So there will be a better ideas of being in the platform, because sometimes it's not just finding a solution, it's finding the courage to embrace the solution.
Yeah, like I agree. Yeah, no, that, yo, you gotta trademark that or something like that. That's a sick idea. Honestly, you got it right now. Chris's idea right now, right? But
steal it.
we'll copyright the video or some of that, so you can kick you. I don't know. We'll do something. But that's a sick. I love that. That's a great point, because there is a period between you deciding to actually act and then you just saying like, I don't want to do this. And like ChatGPT is a great thing of just deflecting. ChatGPT is literally like, if you use it for that case, like, solve my problem for me, or just do this homework for me. It's almost like a way of deflecting your problems and not like actually resolving it yourself. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely the platform that in between for that would be sick. But yeah, honestly, that throw hands, man. We gotta get them on the mic, man. We got to get them on the mic. We gotta let them talk their
They have
talk
a
their
lot
piece.
of problems.
I agree, man. Oh God.
That's really smart, because maybe one thing that we've been neglecting in this conversation is the baby steps that it takes to get to a certain outcome. Because maybe like in my thinking before, it is perhaps flawed because you're not always in a mental state to be able to just make a decision and be solution based and think rationally. So that is an important thing to bring up, that there is a reason why the five stages of grief exist, because you can't just instantly jump to acceptance without going through some steps, right? That's very important to address as well.
100%. But yeah, that is the fundamentals.
Yes.
So that's the first part done. Honestly, that's a lot of good ideas. Okay, so now we are moving to the icebreakers. Okay, first couple questions. So what we're gonna get you guys to do is
Pick a
you
card.
can both, what we can do is you guys can both pick one card here. I don't know how to.
I like the chance.
That's it. So, who wants to go first?
No, you go first.
Yeah, I'll even pick one myself as well. All right.
I don't mind.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mine says, if you could compliment yourself, what would you say? I think, that's hard, because
Yeah. Give yourself a nice compliment.
yeah.
Think of a good one.
I think, pardon my French, that I am a hard ass worker. Like,
Sure.
I just don't give up, and I just got something else, just like the grit of a grizzly bear. I just don't give up, and I just push and push and push and push. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, and sometimes that might be a good thing because I will work myself into the ground, but I think that's better than not working at all. Yeah, hard work. That's my compliment to myself.
Awesome, man. Honestly, wait, hold on. Before you even do your answer, what's one compliment you'd say to yourself?
I am not sure. Like, if you're talking about compliment myself,
Yeah.
I often would think that, bro, why did I even say that? Like, I don't know. I actually have no idea. It's so difficult. I don't know. I have to pass it to you.
Just one. It could be. Doesn't matter if it's like really deep or not. Just first thing that comes to mind.
Well, like, although I always dress up like a businessman and like often think like, okay, I only think about like working, I think about rational, but I'm actually very easy to be happy. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, even though like when we're doing the forge, right, we're building from the like iron buckets and it works and it makes me happy. So like I think I'm very easy to be happy, and I think that's a compliment for myself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. But okay, I'll say one compliment about myself. Even just the first thing that comes to mind. Actually, there's two things I'd probably say. The first one, the first thing I love, and I'll always credit, is just my vision and imagination for things, right? I love imagining things that don't exist in this world and putting into a reality, whether that's like a project, whether that's a new version of myself that I want to step into, whether that's a goal. Like some of my favorite things that I do in my process of like reinventing myself is selecting a goal that I almost get terrified thinking about it, that it's so high up in the earth, right? Like I'll give a perfect example. A year ago, I was thinking to myself, you know, what would be like my next goal, right? Because I just completed everything that I needed to do in high school, and that's for another video. But I was thinking about what I wanted to do, like the next goal, right? And jokingly, I said to myself, you know what? What's the highest thing I can think about? And I was like, oh, maybe just, I don't know, like like playing good at a sport. And I was like, no, think higher, right? And then I kind of just went to like the first thing came to mind. I'm like, I don't know, the United Nations. And that didn't scare me, but it was so high that I was like, yo, what the heck, right? It was last year, I think in August, that I was thinking about it, right? Yeah. And this is just in the time where I just came to the school, right? It was undecided whether I was going to even like do something. Like a lot of things were unknown, right? And now I'm like, let me go to the United Nations. And literally tomorrow, I'm flying to the United Nations to do a speech. So you kind of see, you know what I mean? World goes around, and that's literally like the vision. It's like, I think honestly, things that excite you and things that literally terrify you to think about are the things that you actually would want to wake up to and work for. You know, 10 hours a day doesn't matter, right? Those are the things, and a lot of people don't know how to goal set, so they just get stuck in whatever pond they kind of float into, you know? But that, and then mental fortitude, the other thing as well, society and stuff like that pushes you so many different ways, tries to grab your attention, tries to do all that stuff. But I think something I'm really proud of as well, compliment, is my mental fortitude to stick to what's true to me, whether it's my values, my core beliefs and stuff like that, right? On different things, and just sticking by it. I've never regretted not trusting myself. So yeah. But
okay.
What's yours? Yeah, what's your card?
So my card is, what is one simple thing which always make you smile? I feel like it would be making other people happy. Like I myself, even though it's just the little things that I've done that makes someone really happy, like for example, like my girlfriend Alice, like I know now we're in a very hard situations right now. We have school, we have doesn't have enough money, like this kind of problem, but I don't think it will force me of like not feeling happy about little things that happen in life. Like it could just be going to a theme park and she likes it and she smile, and I'll be very happy for the whole day. So like making other people happy is like one simple thing that make me happy too.
Yo, damn man, that's sick. Okay, man. But yeah, and then my card that I have says, what do you find attractive in a person that doesn't have to be physical? And I'd probably say this. I think one of the most attractive things, I'm a straight guy, straight cisgender male, so I'm into women, right? But one of the most attractive things that I can see in a woman is just her ability to be in her divine feminine. If you guys, do you know what divine feminine is? Yeah. It's like just to be in touch with her divine feminine, and just there's like a certain energy to a girl where she can just like ground you. You know what I'm saying? Where like you can be all over the place, but she can just ground you, and she can be like another source of just peace and tranquility. I think that's so attractive, and I think part of being that as a woman, yeah, that's really, I can't really think about it from a woman's perspective. From a male perspective, that's one of the things that are non-physical, and it's just, you got to have that energy to it, and it takes honestly work. You can't just snap your fingers and have that. It takes a culmination, it takes work to kind of do that. So I respect it. But yeah, that is Icebreakers. So now we'll go down to level 2.
All right.
And this one's called Reflection. So you know the drill, everyone. We'll pick a card. We'll pick a card here. I'm horrible at fanning these out. Let me try and see if I can fan this out better.
Shuffle it.
This one actually, you know what? Reflections is my favorite level out of all 3 of them. They're the best questions. I think further, try to, like, this end I'm going to pick from, because these parts have the good questions. But I pick anyone, all of them I think are pretty good. But yeah, go right ahead. Yeah. And I'll pick one right here. All right. So you guys read it? What's... Who wants to go first? Okay, I'll go for it. Wait, actually, let me think about it. Okay. Sure. Does anyone want to go? Anyone urging to go first? Or not?
Rock, paper, scissors.
No worries. I'll go first.
I need some
Sure. Think about your answers.
I need some time.
I'll go first. Okay, mine is, what is one memory which you haven't forgot? And honestly, I think the first memory that comes to mind is, it's not even just like a memory, it's more of just like a feeling that you can get often. But I think it's honestly the feeling that you can get once you achieve your goal and know that you put your all into it, you left nothing on the table, and you put your all into it and you finally achieved it. And I think that's the best feeling, because you can't fake it at all. You can't fake that. And honestly, there's nothing better than achieving something that you've earned, but not only something you've earned, something that truly fulfills you. You know, so I'm lucky enough to have that feeling more often now than usual. And yeah, that's kind of like a memory. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like a memory that kind of stuck with me. That, like, the one is the trip that I'm going on, or the human rights conference tomorrow that I'm going on. That's kind of like the memory. But it's something that you've earned, something that can't be faked, right? And it's honestly the most fulfilling thing you can have on this earth. But yeah, that's kind of mine. Who wants to go next?
Go next. My prompt is, what is something about yourself you would feel judged for if people knew? Oh boy. I don't know. I feel like I had a good-ish childhood, where I had parents who loved me and I had all the necessities of life, but I felt very emotionally neglected, and if neglect isn't the right word, is just unnoticed or unappreciated. And so oftentimes I was very desperate for attention, and so it's like that like pattern of thinking in my head has definitely decreased as I've gotten older and surrounded myself with people who are willing to kind of give me the emotional care and attention that I deserve. And I've also been giving it to myself a lot more. But yeah, definitely, like, as a youth and even after that, I had a lot of attention-seeking habits, and I would often get hurt on purpose or even fake an injury. And it would happen a lot where I would just put myself in a situation purely out of just wanting to be noticed and to be seen, because it felt good to have the attention on me for once. And I'm not proud of it. I feel like a lot of people would definitely judge me for it if they knew it, especially since a lot of people still tell me stories about what happened to me at one point that I completely faked and fabricated, but I did it just because I just wanted to be loved. Yeah.
Niles.
Yeah.
Honestly, bro, I'm so glad that you said that. Bro, I feel like I need to give you a hug right now, but bro, yeah, man.
Big guy.
That's how you support someone, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not only that I'm glad you're saying that, but bro, I've like, you've read almost like a chapter in my life, like a book right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think honestly with people, at first everything that you're saying 100% valid, right? And you gotta also understand that you shouldn't be. It's understandable to look back and feel ashamed, but don't feel ashamed. Understand that you only did the best that you can with the knowledge that you had with the situation that you experienced, right? And every time you went through that experience, you did the best you can, right? And that's not even to say as a whatever sauce speech. That's literally the actual truth. Because if you went back, you probably wouldn't have done the same thing in this. If you had the exact same knowledge you had, exact same experience, exact same feeling, exact same state, you do the exact same thing, right? And it's you just doing the best you can. So feel honor in doing that, and also feel honor that you've grown. A lot of people just stayed in that state and they didn't have the courage to grow, but you grew out of that. And look at you right now, man, right? You're on here inspiring a bunch of my male community, or even just the male community at large, to express themselves. Everyone in this life tries to seek love or attention, right? That's it. In reality, we're all just children wanting to feel love and attention. That's the deep of it. And a lot of people have many different ways to either feel loved or feel attention, right? But I think part of life is to uncover the most purest form of how to get love and attention by healing yourself and being your best self, right? So I'm glad that you're on that path, man, because honestly, I was in that exact same road. It takes courage to get to where you are.
Yeah.
You know?
It takes a lot of courage to admit it.
God.
Yeah, Niles, like, so, like you guys could see, I came from China.
Yeah.
Right? My family's, I always do anything that I could, maybe just try to fake it, even though I didn't want to make my family try to, like, you know, the best child in the family. Even though I have to tell lies, even though I have to act like, you know, their best version that they think I am, I'm just willing to seek attention from them and trying to get them to say, yeah, I'm proud of you. I actually, if I have to count how many times that they said, oh yeah, I'm proud of you, I could count it with 10 fingers. Yeah. And I'm just very, like, guilty about, like, all the things that I've been like, faking to be the best child in the family and doing something that, like, I'm not supposed to do, lying. And, like, now I realize how much of a impact, like, of other people or, like, my life is. And I reflect myself. And, yeah. The question is, how are you?
Actually, first of all, before that, bro, thank you for saying that. But honestly, even before you even say that, I just want to comment as well. It's like, I feel like sometimes a reputation that may be unauthentic to you can tear you apart if you just keep trying to invest in it. But yeah, like I said, like exactly what Niles is talking about here is like, you had the courage to look back on it now, you know, and become better. Now, who knows, right? Maybe, actually, the first thing I'll say is, the courage to look back on it and change is really honorable. So I gotta prop you with that. And honestly, the first time I met you till now, I'm not saying you were like a horrible person. You're still a really kind person when I first met you. But the growth that I've seen you to right now, the like self-awareness that you have right now, like the ability to express yourself, the ability to articulate, is very commendable. So honestly, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I've seen massive change. Me and Jordan were actually just talking about it the other day. She just, I don't know. She just commented and just said like, "Wow, Chris is very nice and very emotional. You have a good group of friends. And I just said, yeah, he's kind of gone through a bit of a character arc since he's started at UBCO. And I've seen like you kind of open up to us and show us your emotional side. And we are right here with you, man, because we feel all the more safe because of it. And we feel like we have good friends.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, like when I first came to Canada, it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I never thought it would be such a good experience, because in our home country, it's not about how advanced our technology is. It's not about how convenient the 7-Eleven is just located near our house. It's not about all the e-transfer and just using the face to pay something. It's a very advanced world, but nobody willing to communicate with their own feelings. Everyone is just talking about like, oh yeah, I earn that much and I've done these things, I have a lot of rewards. There's nothing to talk about how you feeling. Even in Cantonese, there's no like actually like how are you. It feels weird saying how are you in Cantonese.
Really?
Yeah. It's just like 你最近好唔好? It's like asking you, oh, how you been going lately? And we seldom use this. We're using less and less. We just care about, oh, so yeah, lately I've been working in this place and yeah, and it was like I earned that much, and then oh, there's this news about like a car accident, and which it's just like that. There's so less time. It's just saying that, oh, how are you feeling today, bro? Yeah, there's none of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like a trophy system. It's like a LinkedIn page, literally.
Yeah, it's
like, that's crazy.
As a person, like I would say that I have a very decent childhood. It's not about the part like, okay, my parents have a lot of times that being harsh to me too, and yeah, about the feeling stuff. It's about like, okay, I'm able to have such a good chance to travel around to see what different the culture is, and I see like when I go to my home country, it just feels like nobody is actually talking about like how are they feeling and how are they doing in their life. They're just focusing on, okay, today I'm going to earn money, I'm going to get car, get building, and wives. Yeah, and that just make me sad at some points. Yeah,
it's almost like a projected version of perfectionism, just with like 4 only goals.
Yeah,
and that's the problem with perfectionism. Even like I struggle with that as well. Perfectionism is such a cruel way to describe not being human, you know, because if you are perfect, you are not human. You know, if you're perfect, you wouldn't be here. The whole purpose you're here is to expand your consciousness, is to grow, is to learn, is to experience emotions, manipulate matter. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you're here to literally learn. You're here to literally fail, right? Actually, you know what? There's no such thing as failure. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
Just experiences.
There's literally just experiences. And how you take that determines just how you perceive that experience. You're the controller of your own reality. And that's the thing with perfectionism. Perfectionism thinks that nothing is achieved until you hit the actual achievement. Yeah. So what's happening is perfectionism is a neglect in progress and an undervalue in an achievement. So it's a double-edged sword that's stabbing you both times, both edges. So it's hitting you both. I don't know who, I bet, like, I don't know. I'm not even well adapted into 150 years ago, but you know, I honestly don't think that if you could project a healthy society, that everyone's perfect. I think honestly, and this was a thought that I had earlier, even just to go off of like what you're talking about, not only like in society, but also just on the topics of perfectionism. I think the perfect society is no society. If you think of society, how it's built, society is built up on the back of slaves. That's just how it is, right? Yeah. We're right now slaves, but just in a different form, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of using physical labor, it's more, well, in this portion of in this North America, they're enslaving our minds, right? They're enslaving our energy and our time and whatever that may be, right? So society is built on slaves. So I think that an actual perfect ecosystem, right, of a species, there's no such thing as society. Everyone just works on synchronicity, right? So you're here at the exact time you need to be, when you need to be, you're here, and then you help another person when you need to, and it's this synchronous experience, right? And people are just coming and going, and that takes a certain level of consciousness that we need to get to as a society from learning our faults, from learning everything. And once we get to that level of consciousness, then we can reach that point. And it's gonna take time, but I mean, look at humanity, it's getting better each day, right? So that's that. But yeah, let me just pause this here before, and we'll get back to the final part.
Like that, where everyone's like, they have the goal of like getting 100% and just like setting their bar so high, and then just being crushed and learning nothing from it when they don't achieve that 100%.
Yeah.
He only knows that if I graduate from this university at a higher score, I will get a good work and good job. They never think of maybe if I do something that I really like, it'll be good and my life will be happy.
Yeah.
It's not about just earning money.
Exactly.
So yeah.
You know what's crazy? And that's even another conversation you can go into. But bro, our even like year one in UBC, bro, like UBC engineering, I'm not gonna lie, it's not normal for the whole grade to be from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. grinding out a project, and everyone's mental health just hitting the ground and digging to the earth's core. You know, like there's that, but it's normalized, right? And that's literally school. There's a version of that in every other single program. Every single program has some sort of level of that, at some sort of level, right? And that just shows you the school system's failing. An actual school system, it has the right level of challenge, but it also intertwines like there's fundamental concepts in humanity that need to be taught in schools, but they're not teaching it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, you go first. Sorry.
No, for sure. But just the final, it's like one, getting in touch with the what's it called? Esoteric, more of like a non-physical type of awareness. And that comes with mindfulness. That comes with all that type of stuff, like controlling your reality, like understanding, empowering yourself through your own power, right? That, and the second, the thing is like mental health, exactly what we're talking about, right? It's crazy how you learn engineer first and mental health while you're doing that, right? But yeah, definitely shouldn't go off of grades, because then you attach your worth to a number, which is not great. You should attach your worth to your impact on people, and that should be the true value, because all of us can impact people, but grades shut us down for that, and that kind of like hinders, makes us do a whole nother side quest that we didn't even put ourselves into. But yeah,
Hey, like my experience going into university, like in a course, they will always say like, okay, guys, you're going to spend like 10 hours on these 1 week, right? It doesn't seem much, but what they didn't like count is like, what if that day, like I have something like really affects my mood, and I couldn't do the 10 hours. What happened after that?
Yeah.
No, literally.
Yeah, what if today I'm not fulfilling the 5 hours because I am really sick, and then you just like put the work aside, and then there's more and more and more stored in there, and you have to chase, and your mental health going down again, and then if your mental health down again, you have more works to do, like that is behind you, right? And then you get worse mental, and it's a cycle. And how is it able to let everyone to be like successful?
Yeah.
And I think in that regard, and like, let's not try to like stray too far away from the topic of men's mental health, but I think like it all is kind of like intertwined, because I feel like a lot of what happens to a lot of men is the expectations that are placed on you. You're in school. Your expectation is that you put 18 hours a week into dynamics. I'm like, what? Like you shoot for that 18. Like, I just think honestly, like you shoot for that 18, and if you hit 10, it's better than 0, and you still learn. But I feel like crippling yourself with that goal and not being able to hit it, there's no value in that. And I think like just always setting goals and just having the mentality that like it's okay if you don't meet them and you're still learning. It's better that you had a goal and that you were working towards something. And I think like that's just the disconnect that a lot of people have, including myself sometimes. I'm totally perfectionist when it comes to things like that. And I think being a perfectionist, you either put in your whole heart or you just tap out and you become immobilized and you're like, oh man, 10 hours passed, I scrolled YouTube shorts for too long. I slept in, and it's like, okay, I got 6 hours left to fit in my 18 hours. Yeah. Might as well give up. There's no point, There's always a point. There's always a point to learning. And I feel like when it comes to like expectations on you, just give it your best. Like you just, all you can do is just live your life, give your all and give your best, and feel confident in yourself that like at the end of the day you gave all that you could, and that's all that matters. All the time, all that matters is that you gave your best. And if there's anything beyond your best, it's just an unrealistic expectation of yourself. And I think a lot of times like the disease of mental health, like not that mental health is a disease, but like what often plagues men is them torturing themselves over not meeting unrealistic expectations. And I think that like if there was anything that I could advise anyone to do is just to like observe when an unrealistic expectation is being required of you, and vocalizing when you need to take breaks, you need to take a bit of a stress leave, or you need to relax because you've been strong for too long, because that ultimately will allow you to function and perform better as a human. Because it's like what Chris just said, the like slippery slope of like, oh man, like my mental health is already down here, like if you don't break out of that, you're just going to dig yourself deeper. I did that this year where I just dug myself deeper and I failed a course because of it. And it's just an experience, there's no point in beating myself up over it. It sucks and it's going to set me back a little bit, but I'm comfortable admitting that just because I did not take care of myself as much as I could have. And ultimately that's what happened. I'm not going to judge myself for it. It was an experience. It might be that I set too high of a bar for myself, trying to take on too much, and that's okay. It's all just lessons learned. That's all it is.
It literally
That's all
is.
it's ever been.
Honestly, there's a couple things that I've been learning and realizing that I think would provide balance, not only you, but my community here. I'll drop the purpose of life, and I think that may be the simplest way I can think about it. Act on your most authentic urge the best you can, as long as you can, and that's it. Or act in your passion the best you can, as long as you can, and that's it, right? And to act on your passion takes discipline, and that's the human side of it, right? We can't just act on our urges. That's different. That's why I say you act on your most authentic urge. A lot of times people know what they have to do, but they just don't do it, right? And they don't do it for a number of reasons, right? A lot of people don't do what they need to do simply because of this. They have a definition in their mind that is limiting them from doing it. There's nothing in this life that stops you except for you. And I'm being 100% honest. A car can hit you on the sky. An airplane can hit you. You can get shot with 3 AKs. All these trees can hit me, right? But on God, I'm like you, me, you, everyone is so powerful that you can make that a positive experience. Yourself. You are literally your experience in this life. Anything that happens into your life, you have command over, making it a positive or negative. So as long as you act on your highest urge, the best you can, as long as you can, that's the only reason why we're sent here. That's what I think. And to maintain that is discipline. And discipline is basically past lessons you're taking to extract, to teach your present self right now. That's all it is, right? And what we do is you can think about it. We come into this life and we have everything we need. That's why as a child, we have this wonder-like potential within us, right? And we're so interactive and there's no barrier of resistance. Now, throughout life, why we're here is the external kind of comes in and, people place beliefs on you, right? Whether that is the external. And as a kid, we didn't have control over that because we're completely dependent, right? On food, on sleep, on eating. So we accept everything. Food, we accept water, we accept beliefs, we accept all of that. We have no control over that, right? And that's where the baggage starts, the clothes start piling on you, right? But once you meet at a point where you're conscious enough to choose your own actions, where you're like, where you know when you're like a kid and it finally hits you like, yo, I'm conscious. Damn, I'm conscious.
Yo, it's that one day,
right?
Yeah.
You finally log in. You finally log into your account. You know what I mean? And you finally realize. So at that moment, right? At that moment, that's when life truly starts.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where the quote comes in. Your first life is you there's two lives you experience. One is you literally being born, or whatever that is, and then the second life is when you actually understand that you have a life. So at that point, that's when the purpose, that's when the definition that I put comes in. Act in your highest purpose as long as you can, the best you can, right? That's it, right? And that's where the discipline comes in. And all discipline is just extracting past lessons to teach you how to unveil the clothes that were put on you, right? Because that's the only thing that is. Discipline, if you are your authentic self, there's no need for discipline at all, right? Discipline is only needed to take off those coats, and then after you do that, your life is just truly bliss because you are your authentic self like you were as a kid. That's the whole purpose of life. It's not to overcomplicate it, not to do all of that. And honestly, when you act on your urge, things just start aligning the way it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
Perfect example,
Yeah.
our project. Remember the example, the 7 to 7. Remember that? The 7 to 7 12-hour grind on our project, right? You know that basically if we just what's it called? If we looked at it almost on any other day, if it was different people looking at it that they weren't supposed to look at it, it would have taken them weeks, right? Because we pretty much learned how to concentric mate. We learned how to learned how to literally build from scratch a robot, right?
Yeah.
Your computer probably died halfway through. You know what I'm saying? Right? We had 3 funerals for your computer. Right? You know what I'm saying? We had to learn all of that. But guess what? Honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest. It was a good 6 hours of us just straight focusing. Everyone was focusing. Yeah. And that was because we were doing what we were meant to do. So everything just aligned, right? If we at that point went and took a break, do you know how hard it would be to take a break? Right? It was pretty hard. I couldn't sit for more than 5 minutes. It was literally hard because it wasn't the thing you were supposed to do. It wasn't your highest urge at that time. It wasn't your most authentic urge, right? To do at that time. But for that time, it was just work. And that's where flow state. All flow state is just you being your authentic self for what you need to do, right? That's all it is, just acting on your urge. That's all flow state is, right? And that's where you can just be synchronous. So that's literally the purpose of it, is just unveiling those clothes that you have right now. And honestly, it's okay if you still have it. Yeah. As long as you just, keep doing it and everything will align. But yeah, that's the piece.
Because I think that honestly can help a lot of people who are struggling with their mental health to kind of break free from the chains that have been binding them for a very long time, is because like what he's talking about is just that voice in the back of your head that is telling you exactly what it is that you need to do, but it's that voice you constantly ignore. Because say you are like neck deep in an addiction, obviously that authentic urge, that voice is going to be like, well, you need to get help, you need to find some other way, to like work through this. But like the addiction will keep you stuck, and you will continue doing that until you start following that urge. I honestly feel like when you become self-aware and you start taking note of what's going on in your brain, and no longer being a slave to the natural urges that happen as a recourse from like your body or your hormones, or just basically just habit, because your brain really likes patterns and it really likes habit. Yeah. Once you kind of ascend to that higher level of being where you're like, this is what's happening, I get it now, I know why I've been doing this for so long, and this is the next steps that I'm going to take. And you actually got to take them. Like, you have to visualize those steps in your head and follow them through. That is why I am here in Kelowna. I would not have been here if I did not follow my authentic urge to get married, to apply for school, and to move out here. I would not have done that, but I felt like doing anything but those 3 things would have been a betrayal of myself, and it would have beat myself up for a long time if I didn't do those things. So you just gotta kind of like listen to that voice in the back of your head, because it's there for a reason. Whether it's like your conscience, a higher power, or the universe telling you, it is important and is something that is not to be ignored. And I think when it comes to men's mental health, it is oftentimes ignored because we judge ourselves for having those feelings.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bro, honestly, first of all, and I think, honestly, and to wrap up, not even to wrap up, but just like to, what's it called? To merge everything together like an Avengers Endgame collab, right? Exactly what you're talking about. Because, Chris, you're talking about how in between the goal and you actually deciding to do it, like to act on your urge, there's a period where you're just like, you know, what's going on here, right? I feel like, honestly, and I'm just kind of realized, like, it kind of just came to me as we were kind of talking, right? You kind of sparked this thought. It's like, I kind of realized that in this moment, you know, basically the decision, like, because you gave an example about someone has a drug addict, right? Obviously, I've never been addicted to drugs, so I can't really say what that experience is like or anything like that, right? However, what I can give an example to is, for an example, I don't even know. We'll say like procrastinating, doing something. Like, for an example, I what's it called? You know what? I'll give a flat out good example, right? I did not. There was portions of my life where previously I would literally starve myself, like literally just not eat. You know what I mean? I had no urge to eat. I had no urge to whatever, right? I just did not eat, right? And it would just be whatever, right? So basically, I can tell myself, you need to eat, but I know that at that portion of the time I wasn't gonna eat, even though I know I need to. Right? And that's why we can't really say, you know, act just on that conscience in general. There's a process in between that, which is basically this. There's 3 stages to it. There is you in the moment, there's the definition, and there is the action, right? You need all 3 of them are important. You need to experience something to realize that there's a problem, first of all. The second one, you need to have a definition in your mind. And the definition in my mind was that basically there's a limiting belief. There's you can kind of think of it, we're all in STEM, we're all in math. So there's pretty much a mental equation in your mind for something. And that's the belief that you have. Remember how I said you're powerful about your power, you have so much power, you have limitless power, you can control your own reality. This is all based off of your beliefs, right? So it works both ways. Empowering beliefs forge who you are, but conversely, limiting beliefs have the exact same effect, right? Because your experience of your life, exactly like I said with that tree example and the 12 different airplanes coming in, right? Yeah. It's all dependent on my beliefs. Because think about it, right? Think about it. If I had a belief where if all of those things happened just out of the blue, right? It was meant to happen, and that ripple effect probably would have inspired that person that's gardening right now, right? To do something, or inspire you to do something, right? That would just change the world, right? So it would have that ripple effect, so it would need to happen, right?
Canon event.
But I would have that belief in there, right? So, you know, those things happen. But anyways, from what I'm saying, you realize the problem. Let me get to the point, because I think I was going off track, right? But you have a problem, you have the definition, and you have you have a problem, you have the definition, you have the action. The problem is realizing you have an actual problem. That's the first step, right? The second step is realizing the definition you have in your mind. So let's give my example first of all, right? My example was I wasn't eating, previously, a while ago, I would starve myself, right? And then, so that would be one thing, right? Yeah. The second thing was the definition, right? The definition in my mind was that I believed that because I was starving, but I had a big appetite. I loved eating. I would eat if I could, I would eat 3 different plates. But I had this limiting belief in my mind, thinking that if I eat too much, there would be nothing left for anyone. Or there would be if I invest too much in myself, if I help myself enough, right, it would be a bad thing. The more energy I put in myself, the more it would be bad. The more I would realize that it's bad for me. It's bad for me. It's bad for other people. And that was the equation in my mind that I had. That was running. That was the script I was running. So as soon as I realized that, I'm like, whoa. The first thing I realized is that doesn't make sense. So when you find the definition, that comes through either meditation, or that just comes through either circumstance, just comes to you, right? Whatever that may be. Once you realize that definition, and you realize it doesn't make sense, it automatically leaves you, right? Because whatever makes sense in your life is what you experience, right? So once you realize that belief in your mind doesn't make sense, it's gone. It's not even a part of you anymore. It's left, right? And that's a coat leaving you. That's like we said in the clothing example. That's a part of you. Part of what was placed on you is now leaving, right? And the important part is to replace it. Like you're done. That's done now. And now to add on to that, you would add a positive belief, right? So the positive belief that I added was that basically I realized that the more I love and the more care and the more energy I put into myself, right? The more fulfilled I will be. And second of all, the more I can actually impact others, right? And because I love helping others. I love seeing joy in there. I love changing people's lives. I love bringing the best versions out of people. That's what I love. And that's a fundamental thing that I know about myself that I do, right? I realized that when that happened, when I was starving myself, right? I realized that I wasn't caring for myself, which I didn't really care about too much at the moment, right? But I wasn't doing the very thing that I enjoyed in life. So it was a double-edged sword example, like I said before. So I realized that the more care I give to myself, the more I can actually experience life, right? The more I can actually bring out the best version of me and the version of others and actually have the fulfilling life I always dreamed of, right? And that's the script. And then the third part is just action, right? So the next time I go to something, I'll eat just a little bit more, right? And then I would positive affirmation. Yes, I'm proud of myself. I'm doing this. Then eat a little bit more positive affirmation, right? And then you integrate that into your body and then you become better. And that's that's literally the cycle of how to take off those clothes. Not literally, but the baggage that you've placed within your life. And then after you've repeated that for everything, you're now free. You are free. You can choose to be free in your life, and you are free in multiple aspects, right? But you now have the freedom to be completely yourself, your authentic yourself, for the rest of your life. And that's literally the purpose of life. But yeah, that's that. Anyways, final level, getting deeper. So let's get deep. That's what she said. You know what I was thinking about? I'm actually not gonna name. I'm probably gonna name this like three teenagers talk about life. I don't know what I'll name it. But you know what the original thumbnail I may have? I thought going deep with strangers, and then brackets mental health edition. You know what I mean? But
I think you should keep the original.
Yeah, going deep with strangers.
Oh my god, Tahiri is actually right there. Just dragging me.
No,
bro, you want to go deep?
No, literally. And then the third level was diving deeper. Diving deeper into strangers. No, but all right. Third level. You guys can choose.
Alright, so you guys, I'm out of here. Oh boy, that's a good one.
All right.
You go first.
Okay.
I just gotta rip this off like a Band-Aid.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know
All
exactly
right.
which one I'm thinking of.
All right. So the question that I have is, do you feel lost in life? Explain why. Me personally, I'm proud to say I do not feel lost in life. I think that you feeling lost in life is a choice. And it's kind of, that's how I feel right now. Now, in the past, I felt lost because the belief structure that I had made me feel lost, because I had so many beliefs in myself. I had so many beliefs. Like I said before, your beliefs create your reality. Your beliefs create your experience that you have, right? At the time when I did, this is like past, now it's been like a couple years now where I truly felt not lost, right, in life. But the only time I felt lost, and the only time you may feel lost, is if your belief system in your whole life, your beliefs, whatever that may be, is so unauthentic to yourself that you literally feel lost. So let me explain in a basic example. If you're a person that loves to go outside and loves nature, but your belief system is like, if I go outside, something very bad happens to me, right? Or you shame yourself into staying inside, and you stay inside your room for months and months on end, you're gonna feel lost. You know why? Because every action that you've had is so unauthentic to yourself that you are literally displacing yourself from where you need to be. And that's truly where you feel lost. You define where you feel lost. And that's why I'm saying it's a choice.
So you define being lost as almost like living in contradiction of your true self.
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
I like it.
Right? You are literally in contradiction, and that in and of itself gives you power, because when people feel lost, they feel like someone needs to save them, right? And I kind of had a video on my other account, on this account that you'll see. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll probably post it maybe later. But if you're watching on TikTok, it's the I forgot what it was called. I think it was like a 3 a.m. thought that I had or something like that. But essentially, what was I getting at? It's a contradiction. Feeling lost is a choice. Yeah. And that's right. So feeling lost. So when people feel lost, they feel like someone needs to save them, and that's one of the most unauthentic beliefs that you can have with yourself. Because one, you feel like you are not enough as a person in and of yourself, so you need something in the external to save you. Two, you realize that your beliefs create your own reality, which means that you create your own external experience, which means if you want someone to save you in the external, you're literally just saying another way. You're just saying in different words that you need to save yourself. So if you believe that another person needs to save you, or a circumstance needs to save you, or the external needs to save you, but then you realize that you create your own external through your own beliefs and your own systems and everything like that, you are literally just saying to yourself again that you need to save yourself. So whether you need to find it within yourself or you need to find it in an external, the action that you take, you yourself need to save you. So because you telling yourself that you need to save yourself 2 times, it means that 1, you're worth it enough and you're worthy enough and more than enough to save yourself. And 2, you literally have the power to save yourself. So you feeling lost is a choice. And I'm not saying that as a cold-hearted person. I'm saying that because that's the truth. So restructure your beliefs into some that are authentic to yourself. You might think to yourself, how can I structure authentic beliefs if I don't even know myself, right? Then you gotta be mindful and think about who you are, right? That's when you need to stop yourself from the pulls of life, right? And literally think to yourself. And probably if you're feeling lost in your life and you feel like whatever in the state that I just described, it probably means that your life that you're living is so unauthentic to your own that you're living someone else's, or you're living what you believe other people believe is best for you, right? And that's where it is. So that takes thought, that takes time, and that's okay, right? It's okay. So it takes time to think, and exactly what we're saying. Now you got to think about the definitions in your life. You got to think about the beliefs in your life, right? Exactly what I said before, which comes from the problem, definition, and action, right? So that comes with discovering. That comes with discovering the definitions and the beliefs that you have, and then fixing it to ones that you feel you want, or at least you feel would be the best for you, right? And I know you're capable of that. So. Yeah, and they'll come to you, whether it's from an external experience or a realization or whatever that may be. And it's okay. So that's my thought on feeling lost. Anyways.
I feel like a lot of time...
Thank you. No worries, you can pass by, no worries. Yeah. But yeah.
As I was saying, I think like a lot of time you just have to listen to yourself, like talk to yourself, right? Yeah. Okay, if you're saying that listen to others' opinions, why like other people talk about, okay, like, oh yeah, you should go more to gym, then I think it's equal and fair to listen to yourself too. Because if you're saying that, okay, I have to listen to that person, but what about yourself?
Yeah.
You have to talk to yourself about like, okay, am I really doing okay? Am I doing this because I want to? You have to talk to yourself and listen to yourself before you like talk to someone else and accept their stuff that they're talking about. You have to listen to yourself before actually embrace to others' comments.
You can't have an imbalance where you don't prioritize your own opinion of yourself, because if you were to talk to yourself and listen to yourself in the same nature that you do from the expectation of others, it would be absolutely groundbreaking. Like have an inner dialogue where you basically tell yourself, like, I think it would be a good idea for you to go to the gym, or I think it'd be a good idea for you to go to school. How many times do people insert their unsolicited opinions to you in your life, and you hang on to those, and you get confused, and you feel almost the peer pressure to fulfill someone else's desires of what is ultimately your life? I think that is what leads you to feel lost, is because you are filling someone else's dream, whereas if you were to tell yourself the things that other people are telling you, but only in the voice that is authentic to your inner dialogue, then you would be much happier, and you'd feel laser focused on your dreams, because everything in your life is only pivoted around your dream and what you hold close to home. And you can take into consideration what other people think, and you can take into consideration people's advice and their opinions, but you have to be able to differentiate and strike that beautiful harmony of, yeah, okay, I can see why they would have said that because I possess these characteristics, but I don't need to hyper focus on that and not stick true to myself. Yeah. Because that can wind you up on a path of, oh, I'm going to university to please my parents. Holy, I would be dropped out if that was the case, because, you know, you can't work that hard for somebody else's dream. You can, and many people have done it, but you might feel very lost, even though you might be moving towards a goal. If it doesn't feel authentic to yourself, then that's when you start to feel the weight.
Yeah, honestly, and even actually before that, like what you're saying as well, I think that even in that situation, right, if people are like, your situation is like, if I'm only going to go to college because my parents want me to, right? A lot of people in their mind think, well, what other option is there, really, right? And at that moment, it's because you've been you basically have programmed your decision based on other people so much that you can't even discover your own opinion and your own desires. And if you don't understand and realize your own opinions and your own desires, you don't have your own inner strengths to command the life that you want. So of course you're not going to think of any other example, because you're living a life of other people's. And if you're living a life of other people, how can you have the strength to live the life on your own, right? And a quick and sorry, I know you're gonna say something.
No.
But,
I just want to extend something. Like it's really different from, okay, so your mother tell you to wash the dishes, and like compared to, okay, I want to do something. It's totally different. If you go wash the dishes after your mom tell you, you'll be like, wash the dishes. Oh, it takes so long, right? And compared to, I am going to bake a cake, and okay, I bake a cake right now, and I feel so proud of it. Because that is something that, okay, today I want to bake a cake, right? It's not that mom told me to bake a cake. It's totally different from like being told to do something and doing something that your inner voice actually wants you to do. You have to listen to yourself a lot of times. Exactly. It's a lot better doing that.
Just a disclaimer though, don't use this as an excuse to never wash your dishes at all. Look, there's a difference. You're gonna, at a certain point, you're gonna realize you want clean dishes, so you're gonna have to clean them whether your mom says it or not. Okay, so just a disclaimer putting out there.
Go wash your dishes.
Yeah, go wash your dishes. But something I want to also a point. Actually, it's coming right now, but a quick test, because we're talking about self-dialogue and stuff like that. A quick test to kind of see or gauge your own self-dialogue is this. And I say this, I put a bunch of videos on my account. Doesn't matter what platform you're on, I probably posted it there, right? I say this all the time. If you had a friend that talked to you the same way you talk to yourself, how long would you be friends with them?
Oh, baby, yeah.
Okay,
that's a good one,
right? And but it makes you instantly think 2 days, no days, 5 years, right? you already know the gauge, because you understand the script that you've been running so much, right? So you understand, you already have that level of understanding, right? So at that point, it gives you a good gauge on that. And at that point, the second thing I'll say is this: the right answer will come to you when you give permission to yourself to be honest with yourself. Actually, let me reword that. Let me reword that. It would be more clear. But the right answer will come to you when you allow yourself permission to be honest with yourself. Right? And that happens. So a lot of times when people can't discern with all the voices in their head, if people with schizophrenia, it's different, right? But naturally, we have different voices in our heads that manifest as different things, whether that is whatever you kind of, you literally have the power to choose what voices you have, but whatever that may be, whatever kind of energies or whatever voices you're getting, or whatever you get what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Whatever people you have in your table of your thoughts, right? A lot of people can't discern sometimes which one is themselves, like your own authentic self or authentic selves talking, right? Or whether it's just something that, like I said, you picked up from whether it's other people project on you at a time where you couldn't really, discern for yourself, right? So a great way to do that is, like I said, being honest with yourself, allowing permission to be honest with yourself, because you can't just say, I want to be honest with myself right now, and then just it'll come to you, right? You first have to allow permission to yourself to be in a state where it's like, okay, I allow my permission to be honest with myself. And at that point you think, okay, right? Let's just be honest with myself. Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Right? But we'll get to it. Happiness is a temporary emotion, and you can't really live your life on happiness because it's a temporary emotion. But am I fulfilled? Like, am I living the life that I want to? Right? For a lot of you, it may not be, right? For some of you, it may, right? But whatever it is, that gives you a certain step, right? And then from there, you think, okay, what in my life do I feel is authentic to me? What do I truly enjoy? Okay, and what do I not enjoy, right? But then you have to think to yourself, the things that I don't enjoy, is that in pursuit of the thing that I do enjoy? Because that's a different story. Or is that just flat out a waste of time, right? If I wake up 5 a.m. every day to achieve my dreams, I may not want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. That doesn't mean I stop doing it. That's where the discipline comes in, right? Because there's something in you that's stopping you from waking up at 5 a.m. If it's authentic to you, it means there has to be a belief that has to change so it can flow nicely, right? But allowing permission to yourself to be honest with yourself is so important. And that's what people have to understand to discern that, right? To have a healthy eco space within their mind. But yeah, these are... You did your card? Did you guys do your cards?
I got my card here.
Yeah? Who feels they want to do it?
Okay.
Yeah?
What is something about yourself you would feel judged for if people knew? I have a lot of times said avoid problem, even though at this age, I'm going to say because in my past life, I've been living in my family feeling that, okay, I do not have such skills, and like the other Asian kids, they know how to play piano and they know how to play violin. I just didn't think that I was doing enough, so sometimes I have to lie and to act to make sure that they think that I am skillful enough and have enough achievements to stay in the family. So I know a lot of times you guys in the projects, sometimes I really want to avoid some stuff when there's problem, but I still did it at this time. But a lot of time I still avoiding problems, so that's something that if people know, I'll feel very judged, because I was just really tired and I don't know what is the solutions for right now to able to satisfying other people, and I feel like I'll be judged every time if I say that I'm trying to take a break, avoid the problem first and find a solution later. Yeah, it's something that
other people's expectations of you, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
That's not your fault.
Exactly. You shouldn't. Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I do not know how to do sometimes. What I like drinking, I like the taste of coffee. That doesn't mean that I like to drink it a lot of amounts. A lot of times I'm just avoiding, it's when I drink coffee, my brain start erasing something that is in the bottom that bothers me a lot. It wakens me up and forgot something that is like bothering me. It's because I'm super awake and I'm super efficient. Now I could do works and forgot about those things. But it's actually, I didn't think it will last. The problem is still there. It's still inside me. And when the coffee effect's done, like all the things will just come back. And that's when I go home at night. Like, yeah. And the reason that like I drink so many coffee, it's because like I know it's an addiction. It's bad for me. But like sometimes I cannot find a solution at the right moment. Just like I said, like everyone needs a time before they embrace the solution. They need some times to able to say that I'm fine. They need times for doing that. So yeah, a lot of times I'm not avoiding problem because I don't want to deal with it forever. It's just at that moment I didn't feel well enough to deal with it. Yeah. And that's sometimes I feel like a lot of people would judge me because they would say like, why you're doing this? You're avoiding problem. You're not fixing it. You're not doing it like the other people. I feel like one of my biggest struggle right now is comparison.
Yeah.
Living in an Asian family, like there's neighbor's kid every time.
It's a robbery of peace, man.
Yeah. I was like,
But how many other, kids are also lying about their achievements?
We have a Chinese sentence that like represents something like it's called 一山還有一山高. It means that if there is a mountain, there will be another mountain that is higher. But some parents just don't understand because they want to compare you, because they want to feel better about themselves raising a kid, which make me right now feel like, oh crap, that kid get 90 in the test. I have to do way better. And I cannot say no. I cannot say, oh shit, this is hard.
Yeah.
Because he did it. Why can I work harder and then I could do the same? So yeah, I think that's one of my biggest struggle and something that I feel like a lot of people will judge me.
I think an important aspect. Yeah. I think an important aspect about this prompt, Chris, is like not to let you judge yourself in the same manner that you would perceive others to judge you for the things that you have kind of like opened up about, because oftentimes like even if people aren't currently like looking at you and judging you, that inner dialogue will make you judge yourself. And like I don't know, for me personally, it helps me a lot just to think like it's okay, like all of the things that you just said were basically your explanation for why you have done and do the things that you do right now. And judging yourself for an addiction will just, make the situation even worse. Who cares? You're just doing all you know how to do right now until you can find a solution. It's okay. Like everything's okay, man. And like honestly, like those kids that you're looking at, they might be getting high 90s, but somebody else might be getting 99% or 100. Somebody might be getting, 100% all across the board. Somebody could be higher than them. Someone is always achieving this unattainable goal from someone else who has completely different life circumstances. And you would just never know. And I think everybody, honestly, I believe everybody is just kind of putting on that front and like just showing the best parts of themselves and repressing the parts that they don't want to show and be vulnerable about because they would be perceived as lesser or be judged for them. And I think that's like a fatal flaw that comes with comparisons. It's just so contradictory to everyone's authentic self because no one is perfect. No one achieves 100% of everything 100% of the time because your body doesn't perform 100% all the time, and you can't expect it to, and nor can your mind, nor can your heart.
Yeah, literally. And yeah, that's the thing. And also too, like your 100% may not look like 100% all the time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
relative.
It's literally relative. But the other thing I'll say too is like you, like for you or for anyone here, it's like you should never shame yourself for not fulfilling someone else's version of how you should live based on their own things that they haven't resolved in their own life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not even living their life. You're not even living your life. You're living the life that you think that they want, that they think that they want, right? And it's like almost like a, you know those
It's
Russian
this-
dolls that, you know those Russian dolls
it's
when
like
they keep,
this loop of
like you're saying the
insecurity
mountains
that
mountains
kinda gets
example.
perpetuated
right?
throughout generations of just like trauma upon trauma upon trauma, like
It's based
you know,
on that.
yeah,
The mountains are forged from the trauma.
Your parents, you know, they are doing what they are doing to you because it was done to them.
Yeah.
You've got to kind of break the cycle.
And it takes courage.
Stop. It does. It really does, because it's been done that way for so long.
Ancestral cycles take work. Yeah, but I'm glad this generation is doing that, man.
Yeah,
like
man.
that's the cool part. But
We have to work on it.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to work on it this generation to like I was saying, a lot of our parents, a lot of our older people that don't understand is like mental. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's not just something that I feel like I want to be stressed. I don't want to be stressed. I want to be happy.
Yeah.
I want to drink one coffee once a day just because of the
Yeah.
taste, not like overdose it. It just our generation should have like we have to do something to able to let no matter is the previous generation or the next generation know that it is okay. It is normal that these things it's in you.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be shameful because that thing is in you. Not because our parents told us, okay, you're just acting out. It is not true. Which is my biggest fear because like my parents told me that I was faking my emotion. Which now like I don't even know which one is real or not. And it haunts me a lot of time. But now it's a little bit better because I realize I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And you guys are not
Yeah.
alone too.
Let's go. No
You
one's
tell
alone.
him. You tell him. You're not alone.
You are not alone. There's
Right?
a lot of people have struggles too. They might not have the same struggle, but it is a real thing. You don't have to be shameful because somebody tells you that you're just acting it out. There's
Yeah.
no acting it out. If you feel like, okay, I am very painful right now,
Yeah.
you are not faking it.
No.
Yeah.
like
Don't let anybody invalidate your feelings.
like just
Yeah.
it's just as important as physical health, because like if you got cut by a sword, right, you're bleeding and other people will say, yo, are you okay?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just the same. Mental, it's like your other body, right?
Yeah.
You get
You can't
It's a
see
non-physical.
it.
Yeah, you can't see
physical.
it.
It's a non-physical physical.
if you got
Yeah.
cut like in the mental body, nobody sees you bleeding, but actually it hurts.
Think
It
Yeah.
about
hurt the
how
same.
much better off people would be if they treated like mental disorders like a broken leg.
Yeah.
If you like if you fracture your femur or you like bust up your ACL and you don't give it the proper attention and you push through the pain and you just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, you're going to make it worse. Why does nobody, compare mental suffering to physical suffering ever? Like we just keep on pushing through. We don't heal from anything, and we just keep on making things worse and worse and worse, and we don't give it the proper care and attention that you need to heal from something. Because if somebody could see, a stab wound, they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, like we need to like
The
get you
ambulance
to
would
a
be
doctor."
called.
Yeah,
People would surround you.
Where's the mental ambulance?
Where's the 911? for
Where's
that?
the it's like
Yeah.
that's what's so hard for people to kind of grasp, is because you're not faking it, and even if you are, there's a reason for it. There's some unhealed trauma.
There's a definition.
There's something that is causing you to do the things you do. So like I just think like no matter what, even if you're faking an emotion, it's still valid. it's still valid.
That's-
It's always
exactly.
valid, you know?
It's it's literally all of your emotions are valid, right?
Yeah.
Now,
And I'm sorry you've gone through that experience,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, you know, that's
We
like...
gotta do another. Hold
yeah,
on,
we gotta do another
hug
big bro
roll,
hug.
That's okay, man.
You're so strong.
Like,
No, they're gonna see in the video just like he's really tall. Just saying, he's really tall. It's not.
like, it happened in the past. The more important is like, okay, like be honest. First of all, I refuse to came to Canada because I was like, oh no, I have to miss all my friends and I have to make another new friend. Oh, there's a hair. In like a brand new community, but I never knew that it will be that great to like realize how different is the culture, and it actually helps me a lot because there's people who actually cared about these things we're like not care about in my home country. It's about the mental health. When I first came here, I was like,
Yeah, I think he's just saying it's still recording. Yeah. It should be. Oh, yeah, we're good.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, we good.
Carry on.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. It's like testing.
Oh yeah, it's still going.
It's like knowing that okay, my mental struggle isn't a joke. It's a big thing, and now I already already heal a lot, and yeah, that's already okay. I understand that okay, these things happen, but like I already like not like just forgot about
It's
it.
agreeing with you, you know.
Yeah.
Plane's agreeing with you.
I didn't forgot about it. It's still in my mind, but it's already like I tell myself it's going to be great. And for all the things that I see right now and all the experience right now, I'm able to be strong enough to live my life the way that I want to.
Yeah, man. And that's empowering.
Mhm.
It's literally empowering. But
And you can do it too.
literally, tell them you can do it too. Really. And hopefully you're inspired to do that too. But okay, let me. Okay, I'm gonna pause in 3, 2, 1.